Imagine standing at the edge of an abyss, gazing into the silent depths of a woman's mind. You think you know her. You think you've seen her, her laughter, her tears, the way her lips purse when she's withholding something unspeakable. You think tightness is a physical state, a question of muscle and skin. But tonight, as the moon hangs low and your thoughts wander into forbidden territory, you ask yourself, what is she really hiding within that tension? Is it fear, disappointment, or something ancient, a secret older than her own body? This isn't a story about anatomy. It's a reckoning with everything you haven't asked. In the hour after a fight, when words ricochet off locked doors, you drift through confusion, chasing her silhouette, needing answers that feel out of reach. You don't know why she walked away. You only know her body went rigid, a fortress of habits built by trauma and longing, psychology stitched into her every move. Her tightness isn't just physical. It's layered with emotion and history. When her shoulders stiffen in the kitchen, when her breathing becomes a coin flip between rage and surrender, you sense the storm rising in her. You want to decode it. You want to break her, rebuild her, taste her vulnerability. But first, you must be willing to question everything you know about attraction, communication, and trust. The first secret, tightness is a language, fluent in silence and tension. Her body holds chapters you haven't read, scarred by misunderstood intentions, half-heard apologies, and promises gone stale. She's lived through the prisons of relationships, each one leaving fingerprints on her. You see the effect. You mistake it for rejection. But what you feel, in the gap between you, is the echo of every man who tried and failed before. You chase her through the maze of memory, desperate to understand the patterns. Her habits are carved from psychology, sometimes frantic, sometimes absent, always calculated. Watch closely, every hesitation, every tightly drawn breath, is a message. She's telling you about the power struggle happening beneath her skin. Attraction isn't a given. It's negotiated in micro-movements, with eyes that dodge your gaze and with hands that stiffen instead of reaching. Relationships falter here, in the moments where communication dies an awkward death and desire shrinks back, scared of exposure. You worry about cheating. You wonder if she's emotionally strayed. In truth, her body is already betraying, if not you, then herself. Emotional cheating doesn't always need a partner. Sometimes it's just her in bed, curled away from you, patching the cracks with secrets. With every withdrawal, you feel adultery lingering in the margins, not as an act, but as a state of mind. Second secret, her tightness is a barometer of trust. Psychologists call it muscle shielding, her body's insurance policy against disappointment. You think about marriage, vows recited in trembling voices. Did she believe those words? Does she still? Trust is measured here, not in promises, but in how willing her body is to soften around you. If you are careless, if your communication fails, divorce becomes physical long before papers are signed. You remember the rejection. The sting of her saying no. Not always with words, but with absence, with space left unfilled. You burn for her to turn to you, but her body is colder than before. She's mastered this, the art of emotional control. Her tightness is not punishment, it's protection. The fortress is built from old betrayals, from the knowledge that even people who love you can be careless with your soul. You fight the urge to push. You want answers, certainty, clarity. But the body abides by its own rules. The third secret, tightness is emotional history, mapped onto flesh. She remembers every misunderstanding, every time you failed to see her. You think it fades. It doesn't. You stand, desperate, frustrated, in the wake of an argument, clinging to habits that keep you apart. Her body isn't defiant, it's honest. Feel the pain. Real pain is raw, confusing, humiliating. You question your own confidence. Is it you? Are you not enough? Do you lack understanding? The female body is not an adversary, but it will stand its ground when trust runs thin. Understanding her means excavating these layers, accepting that habits serve a purpose, they defend her from you, from the world, from herself. The fourth secret whispers in the hallway, late at night, her tightness is also hope. Twisted into the knots is a desire to be seen, to be held safely. Emotions become currency. She trades vulnerability for certainty, a dangerous game. You sense her confusion, the push and pull of intimacy, her body both inviting and denying you. Psychology says it's attachment theory. Street philosophy says it's survival. You battle the feeling of uncertainty, the constant doubt gnawing at your thinking. Is she cheating? Is she emotionally gone? The body answers in pulses, in unspoken boundaries. The history of her relationships, past attraction, old wounds, all of it, reverbs in this nightly tension. You crave liberation, to open her, to loosen the hold of fear and habit. But the tension is not yours to unravel until you replace her fear with safety. Spouses learn too late. Marriage bends under the weight of repeated ignorance. Communication cracks. Emotional cheating blooms in the absence of presence. You want to fix. You want to claim. But the truly confident man does not take, he listens. He reads the signs with patience bordering on obsession. Her tightness holds both the ache of betrayal and the hope of redemption. You choose, with every gesture, which one she'll remember. Street wisdom collides with academic theory here. The fifth secret, tightness can be invitation. When she lets you in, even for a moment, it's a test. Not for dominance, not for control, but for your ability to hold space. You think attraction is seduction. Wrong. Attraction is safety, fascination shaped by trust and consistent habits. Her emotions flow, or freeze, depending on your response. Don't look for obvious clues. The body rarely shouts, it's all whispers and glances. In relationships, the smallest touch signals seismic shifts. If you communicate carelessly, if you fail to see her, tightness returns, harder than before. Real understanding demands attention. Study her like a map, trace the topography of her pain. You need to leave behind the thinking of boys, embrace the raw psychology of men who dare to be gentle. But you feel blocked, stuck. Your confidence shakes. You stare at her across the dinner table, remembering times she leaned in, the curve of her body unclenching when hope briefly surfaced. Then it closed again, the door slammed shut. This journey is the long walk through the desert of misunderstanding. If you survive, the oasis is not her love, it's the wisdom etched into the scars her body carries. The sixth secret floats in the air after midnight arguments. Her tightness reveals her boundaries, rules you never signed but always break. She is a scholar of disappointment, an architect of barriers. Carl Jung spoke of shadow selves, the hidden aspects we dare not voice. Her body is a canvas painted by her shadows. Every muscle clenched is a confession, I will not let history repeat itself. You confront the truth, she is both fortress and battlefield, and the war is mostly internal. You want certainty, clarity, a blueprint for undoing her defenses. But confidence built on shortcuts will shatter here. The drama of trust and mistrust echoes in your marathon of confusion. You remember the moments you misunderstood her, how you communicated with blunt hands and careless words. Each episode left a scar. She's not testing you, she's remembering. Her pain demands respect, not conquest. This is the reckoning at the edge of marriage and divorce. Spouses who try to barge through her walls fall into the same trap. Tightness is not simply resistance, it is memory. If you tune yourself to her signals, you taste the beginning of real transformation. Habits must change. You must shed the skin of assumption, become fluent in the dialect of uncertainty, and welcome the discomfort of not knowing. Cheating begins with silence. Emotional cheating isn't a hotel room, a secret meeting, it's her body curling away when intimacy turns dangerous. Adultery sometimes starts in the heart, long before the body moves. The seventh secret: her tightness is both alarm bell and sanctuary. When she loses trust, it is her body that withdraws first. You see the warning in her sleep, the stiffness in her greeting, the distance in her gaze. Marriage is supposed to offer safety, a sanctuary from chaos. But when spouses lose the thread of communication, tightness becomes prophecy. You sense the drift, you feel the gulf, panic sets in. Your confidence wants resolution. But liberation demands surrender, the willingness to fall into mystery and learn, not demand, the reasons why she resists. Understanding doesn't come through interrogation. It arrives in haunted moments when pain is acknowledged and you let her talk, without defense. Attraction unspools in these moments, woven through vulnerability. The game changes when you realize tightness is less a wall, more a plea for understanding, her emotions mapped in muscle and breath. Don't rush. Liberation begins with presence, not solutions. You recall the day you mistook her tension for coldness. The pain of rejection branded onto your habits. Her body teaches hard lessons, every inch that draws back is the price of misunderstanding. Confidence faltered. You wonder, can love survive so many invisible wounds? Can relationships thrive when communication crumbles under the weight of accumulated disappointment? Jung wrote about individuation, the journey to consciousness. She is evolving, not in spite of pain, but because of it. Her body signals the progress, every release, every tightness, tells a story of growth and retreat. This is your chance, to study, to reflect, to abandon arrogance and embrace humility. You communicate not with empty reassurances, but with questions etched softly into her wounds. Trust is built in these silent exchanges. Every night she turns away, every morning she hesitates, you have the chance to listen. Attraction gains new meaning, a magnetism forged from safety, not seduction. You realize the old habits, the easy answers, don't work here. The journey is not toward possession, but union. Liberation is not the absence of tightness, but the presence of genuine understanding. Street philosophy tells you, everyone cheats, in thoughts if not in acts. The true betrayal is in failing to see her. Emotional cheating is subtle, a dinner table without conversation, a touch without intention. Adultery is sometimes a last desperate rebellion, emotional infidelity a slow turning away. Watch her body. The tightness is both accusation and shield. You cycle through frustration. You want her trust, her ease. You think confidence means control. The truth, habits must transform first, thinking must disassemble. Relationships are rebuilt in the aftermath of pain, never before. Communication, the lifeline of marriage, frays under repeated ignorance. Spouses drift, divorce creeps. You feel the specter in her silence, in the way tightness lingers after apologies. Inside every woman is a labyrinth, you are not the minotaur, but the unsure hero. She wants to guide you, but she must see if you're worthy. Every barrier is a test. Can you approach with care, abandon the scripts, create new patterns? The mystery endures, but understanding is no longer an illusion. It becomes a choice, hammered out in quiet moments, forged by honesty. Attraction is the chemistry of minds before the collision of bodies. Her tightness signals caution, not rejection. Old wounds vibrate in current arguments, every misunderstanding leaves its mark. You think communication is conversation. Listen, it is also in how you touch, how you react when she flinches, in the patience you offer when her barriers grow stronger. Her emotional arc swings from pain to hope, confusion to clarity, frustration to liberation. Real pain is transformative. It visits you in the empty spaces where old habits once sufficed, forcing new growth. Confidence is born here, not in conquering her defenses, but in honoring her struggle. The journey from misunderstanding to understanding demands a fearless gaze, an acceptance that liberation is earned each time you choose presence over impatience. This is the drama in every marriage, every affair, every room echoing with things unsaid. Divorce is rarely a surprise, it is foretold in the body long before the signatures. You are invited to see her, to hear the secrets her tightness guards. The finale is not surrender, not victory, but transformation. From thrill to ache, from wall to window, the journey is yours, and hers. She leans away during arguments, skin drawn taut like wire. You catch the micro-flinch, the tightened jaw, the refusal to meet your gaze. It's not contempt. It's a primal signal, I'm not safe. Jung would call it a shadow dance, the conversation you never have out loud. You feel both rejected and challenged, craving her openness, resenting the secrecy. Frustration ripens, feeding old habits of defensiveness. You think back, years of relationships, different faces, same patterns. Her tightness speaks the same dialect as those before her, armor built from small betrayals, shoddy communication, moments of inattentive presence. Each habit you bring to the table, each careless slip, reinforces the divide. Confidence falters. You wonder if attraction still matters, if marriage can survive this sustained resistance. Is trust even possible when her pain is inherited from both you and those you never met? This is the carnival of misunderstanding. The true drama isn't whether she'll cheat, but whether you'll ever see her. Her tightness is a plea for recognition, a demand for new habits and sharper thinking. The pain isn't her rejection, it's your refusal to evolve. She's an expert in boundaries. Each tight muscle a lesson learned, each strained smile a mantra, never again. You recognize the choreography, she's not just protecting herself from you, but from the specter of previous heartbreaks. Relationships falter in these ghost-laced moments, haunted by things neither of you said. Communication dies, replaced by scripts learned from unhappy spouses, failed marriages, unresolved divorces. What are you really fighting for? Not just her softness, but her faith. You crave proof, attraction that grows rather than recedes. But your confidence is tested by her refusal to yield. Her habits are psychological barricades, built from the rubble of disappointment. You're offered two choices: storm the fortress and lose, or learn the art of gentle siege. The wounds linger in her body, reminders of partners who misunderstood the difference between seduction and safety. The emotional arc demands more than apologies, it demands transformation. Your thinking must shift, less conquest, more curiosity. The revelations hidden in her tightness are invitations, not obstacles. Can you see them? Can you bend, adapt, and listen with a patience bordering on reverence? Attraction is more than fleeting chemistry, it's the magnetic pull of safety. She tests you, eyes scanning for genuine understanding beneath your bravado. When communication fails, tightness clings to her like armor, and your words bounce off with dull thuds. It's in these quiet moments, after the argument, before the makeup, that the truth crystallizes. Relationships are shaped not by promises, but by presence. You remember the raw ache, the morning after you slept back to back, the day you caught her turning away from affection. Confidence buckled. Her habits seemed mysterious, frustrating. Was it emotional cheating? Was it simply exhaustion? You wonder if marriage always tips toward entropy, if spouses are doomed to dance around their pain, forever clutching at shadows. Her tightness speaks, in micro-expressions, held breath, flinching touch. Jung would say you are encountering the archetype, her eternal feminine guarding deeper truths. She needs a partner who trusts her pain, who walks beside her through the minefield rather than around it. Divorce is only one outcome. Transformation lingers as another, if you're brave enough to tread softly and listen. You ask yourself, in the afterglow of disappointment, if you're truly aware. Do you see her or your image of her? Communication is more than language, it's intention, repetition, habit. Her emotions etch themselves into her flesh, each tightness a sentence in her autobiography. You grasp for understanding, desperate to resurrect trust, longing for the kind of attraction that survives the body's rebellion. Confidence wavers. Old thinking returns. You blame her. You blame yourself. The pain is cyclical, a spiral winding through a landscape of arguments and reconciliation. The divorce rate climbs in your mind, each spouse looking for safety that never materializes. You cycle through solutions, missing the point. Liberation isn't found in fixing her, it's in fixing the way you show up. Jung's lesson is brutal: individuation requires facing the shadows. If her tightness is uncomfortable, it means you're close to the truth. Habits die hard, especially those fed by misunderstanding. Stand in the discomfort. Listen past your defense. The female body tells you everything, if you're willing to be both student and lover. She softens, rarely, and you catch the glimpse of possibility, a body at peace, a mind unguarded for half a breath. It's fleeting, a window that snaps shut if you approach carelessly. This is the climax of the arc where presence becomes liberation. Relationships become possible again, not through grand gestures, but through the relentless pursuit of genuine understanding. Her pain is your curriculum, her tightness, your exam. You see confidence reborn as humility. Communication grows clear when you drop your guard and lead with curiosity. Attraction intensifies, not as seduction, but as resonance, two frequencies aligning. Marriage drifts from rote habit to living ritual. Spouses shed old skins and relearn trust, one careful touch at a time. The specter of adultery fades when emotional cheating is replaced by emotional presence. You enter her labyrinth knowing you'll get lost. That's the point. Transformation is not a destination, it's the willingness to ask, to linger, to endure rejection until it melts into understanding. The journey ends only when you both see each other, unshielded. Liberation does not come cheap, it demands your ego, your certainty, your need for satisfaction on demand. Her tightness is an oracle, speaking not only of her fears, but of the depth of your courage. Relationships designed on autopilot wither under its gaze. Are you ready for the discipline of presence? Tightness yields only to what is real. That means your apologies must live in your habits, your understanding sewn into every glance, each word you choose not to say. Too many spouses chase forgiveness but shy away from insight. They end up circling the ruins of failed marriages, repeating the same communication errors. The truth? Marriage is not the antidote to loneliness unless it's forged from ongoing discovery. Her body keeps score, of trust broken, of attraction earned, of promises that felt heavier than truth. Your confidence shouldn't be blind, it should be compassionate, patient enough to weather her unease and astute enough to see where you repeat the faults of your predecessors. Attraction thrives on what is fresh, unmanufactured. Can you meet her where she stands, wary, but willing, tight, but not yet lost? The strongest relationships find their center not in pleasure, but in the shared excavation of pain and the slow softening that follows. If you can sit in that tension, tightness becomes the gate, not the chain. The journey from ignorance to understanding cuts both ways, it is not her alone who is tested. Your thinking must overhaul itself, drop the armor of defensiveness, surrender to the terrain of uncertainty. The female body, in all its moods and mysteries, is not there to comply but to converse. Liberation is what happens when you stop hunting for shortcuts. It is the slow, daily effort not to betray her trust in small, unnoticeable ways. Trust is not a switch, not a promise at an altar. It is 1,000 microscopic moments, choosing honesty instead of reassurance, silence instead of interruption. Emotional cheating is what happens when your presence fades. You can cheat without a lover, you can betray by abandoning attention. Adultery is the symptom, not the disease, the rot begins in the death of listening. Her tightness reveals where communication is dying and where resurrection is possible. Habits must be interrogated, sometimes destroyed. Only then does confidence return, slowly, shyly, as you prove not your worth, but your willingness to keep showing up. Attraction flares uncontrollably in that vulnerable space, the atmosphere before trust, the wilderness before union. Feel the arc complete itself. From frustration and confusion, each step drawn by hurt, through the territory of pain and finally, revelation. She is both mystery and map, the guide, the gatekeeper, the vulnerable heart hidden beneath centuries of survival. Relationships remain brittle until you accept that your role is not to change her, but to change the way you witness her. The finale approaches, weighted with meaning. Clarity is a practice, not a finish line. You have been tasked not with unlocking her, but with honoring her fortress. Marriage survives not by staving off divorce, but by tending the small soft moments that tighten and loosen her boundaries. Spouses who understand become students of nuance, translators of the unsaid. Emotional cheating, adultery, the slow bleed of trust, all wither under sustained presence. Trust is what grows in the aftermath. Habits remodel themselves. Attraction deepens, becomes gravity. Communication finds new grooves, no longer afraid of sharp edges or hidden doubts. It is work, repetitive and profound, but the reward is rare. Her tightness relinquishes, not as surrender, but as shared sovereignty. That is liberation. In the end, the body is witness, chronicler, judge. Tightness is evidence, a living archive of past confusion, current hope, and the future you both might rebuild. Can you stand in the crumbling ruins of old habits and plant something new? Will you remember, in the heart of conflict, that every rejection is rooted not in judgment, but in protection? Jung called this confrontation with the shadow, a necessary violence in the pursuit of wholeness. Divorce is what happens when too many secrets rot behind unspoken walls. Marriage endures only in the sunlight, where pain is admitted, where tightness is neither shamed nor ignored, but met with empathy bordering on awe. You cannot demand trust, cannot buy understanding, you can only offer your presence and let it work miracles slowly. The female body does not lie. Its secrets are hard-won. The mystery is not why tightness exists, but what it's showing you, about her, about yourself, about all the unfinished business you carry into every touch, every word. Are you listening yet? This is your metamorphosis. The old story falls away, no more blame, no frantic seeking for reassurance, just you and the wild patience of someone willing to learn. You will lose her if you dismiss her tightness, and you will lose yourself if you refuse to change. But if you enter the labyrinth with eyes open, ready to meet your own doubts, ready to honor her pain, something rare happens. The fortress softens, the gates part, and a new union writes itself in trembling, honest hands. There are no short scripts for trust, no quick fixes in the school of liberation. The only way out of confusion is through it, side by side, both willing to admit what you fear, what you need, what you love. The tightness in her body is the greatest teacher you will ever meet. Let it reveal you.